Okay, thanks guys for taking your time to come and listen to me talk to you a little bit about our business experiences, some of the things that we've done in the past, all the way from when I was 15 when I started in business through to now where I'm 21, I think now. Stone, probably. Okay, so I am Managing Director of a business called NetPay Solutions Group. We have our offices just in Hedge End. Actually, up until end of last year, we were based around the corner in Stoneham Lane, literally 5 minutes from the university. And we have two key divisions within our business. We have a business called NetPay Merchant Services, and actually what that does is provides businesses the ability to process payments by card. So when you go into a shop or you buy online, you have the ability to pay by card. It's sort of expected. People that don't accept payment by card are missing out huge sales potential. And we enable businesses to accept that card payment. That for us has always been a commodity product. It's a bit boring really, accepting payment by card. It's all the bits that we do around that capability that makes it very different in the market. It's about a focus on things like transaction analytics, giving businesses insight to be able to understand their sales performance better and start mapping that to try and understand how they can affect and change their business model to be able to grow their business effectively. We also have automated a lot of the stuff. If you ever bought something from a bank, ever signed up for a bank account or whatever, the process typically takes a long time. In the business-to-business space, it takes even longer. And actually a merchant service account, if you wanted to accept payment by card typically from your bank, it's a 2 or 3 week process. We took that down, so we approve 86% of customer applications instantaneously as part of their sign-up process. So we've taken a 2 or 3 week provisioning process and limited it down to just literally a matter of minutes. We have about 10,000 customers in the UK alone in NetPay Merchant Services, and that is a business that has got some really great growth opportunities. We also run a business called Technology. Nishikanth, who's a former student at the University of Southampton, with us for 5 years, and we have quite a number of graduates within our business, and they are building and underpinning infrastructure that powers payments in the UK and globally now. 14 countries, in fact, we're rolling out to for a couple of very large customers. Technology effectively enables card payments businesses, people in the space, the payments industry, to be able to get their customers live quicker, manage them more effectively, take advantage of some of the reporting and analytics that we've done on a truly global scale. So we actually process something like 7,500 business customers every month use our technology to get access to card processing capability. That's something like 34% of the market, and that's a business we launched just in January of this year, in fact. So we've really taken a storm on market share in that industry, and that's all about technology. It's at the heart of everything that we do. It's what we get excited about. It's what we love doing. It's all about using our technology to kind of differentiate in the market. I talked about 14 countries. We're live now. I forget, so Australia is a big market for us, so we won a deal from one of the largest acquiring banks in the world to deliver services to every Subway restaurant in 14 countries. So this time next year, it doesn't matter if you're going to a Subway in Australia, Iceland even, Scotland, France, Spain, anywhere, pretty much in the whole of Europe, Middle East and Asia, you will be responsible for paying through a NetPay provided technology. So a great result for us. We're doing that now with major corporate clients like Western Union, a much bigger, we run a vending machine business that's rolling us out to 28 countries. So we're really taking kind of global opportunity and developing all of that capability here in Southampton. My background, sort of Ben suggested, I was in business from the age of 15. I was actually headhunted from school. So I was on my clear trajectory. I was going to be an apprentice web designer. That was my job. I was going to leave school. I was going to join a local web design agency, and I was actually going to be an apprentice in that business. Some irony there, the company I was going to join, in fact, when I was leaving school at 15, I ended up owning by the time I was 18. They went bust and I was able to buy them out of administration. It became an e-learning company. I sold my shares in that 2001, something like that. So yeah, we've got a telecoms background. We've always been based really in Southampton, the material businesses that we've got. We still have a very large business that operates locally that we sold in 2010. There's a business called Murphex that became an organisation called Daisy Wholesale. A very large telecoms organisation, and we built that effectively from the side of Nikki, my wife's house, into what is a kind of massive leader in the telecoms wholesale channel. In 2003, I was listed in the Rich List 2020. It was Philip Beresford, the guy who puts together the normal Rich List, did a predicted Rich List of people that he thought was going to kind of take a storm and do well over the next kind of 20 years or so. I was listed as number 1 in there. Wayne Rooney was number 3. I think Keira Knightley was number 2. So it was quite a shock for me, and it was quite an odd one. We took a call in our office. I was literally had the smallest room. It was probably got a fraction of the size of this. And me and my then business partner in an organisation I had then called DMC, we took a call from a guy. I thought it was a joke first, doing some scouting for the Rich List 2020. They gave us some interview questions, and sure enough, got listed number 1 in that. There's some irony there, and I kind of use this as a note of inspiration for all of you. When I was listed in the Rich List 2020, I was going to be worth 100 million by 2020. I was in another paper, they said my current valuation, my personal net worth was 1.7 million. I was sat there thinking, how the hell am I going to pay for my shopping this week? I'm so broke, I don't even know what to do. I wonder if I could go to the bank with this piece of paper and say, apparently I'm worth 1.7 million, can I have a loan against this, please? Because I can't afford to live right now. So, you know, it's an interesting thing. And actually, when you get ideas, you start getting some publicity and promotion. You know, you can really get some great marketing opportunities for your business. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy, actually, because people thought that we were doing well. We started doing well because everyone came to us and said, these guys are doing brilliant. This guy's worth 100 million quid. It's fantastic. We've got to buy off this business. And actually, we started really gaining some momentum on the back of that marketing activity. So I'm very thankful for that. So first I'm going to talk a bit about your approach. So hopefully you're all bursting with ideas, things that you want to really take to market, opportunities that you've got, and great business ideas that you want to use future worlds to kind of incubate and do well. The key thing for me is always about passion. I'm very passionate about all the business interests that we've ever had. Now, you might find business people that have been very successful without being passionate. And believe me, card payments is not a business to be particularly passionate about. I love it. I absolutely love everything about card payments. I can spot a terminal a mile off. I know that's a Verifone VX680. It's probably connected to an acquiring bank, third one in the largest one in the UK. You know, I really get geeky about it. I love everything we do. I'm very passionate about our business. And believe me, when you're stood in front of an investor, the key thing that they'll look at before they'll get the idea, forget the idea for a second, they need to buy into you as an individual, you as a person. That's the first thing they're going to buy into. Then they're going to say, actually, what is your attitude like? What is your work ethic like? Are you actually going to be someone that if I give my money to you, are you going to go and run with this idea and make it successful? You've got to be passionate about what you do. They want to get that as a gauge first before they decide to commit their money. The idea is almost secondary to that. They've got to buy into you as a character. Whilst you're at university, you think, you know, I've done my years, 3, 5, whatever kind of degree you intend to do, but you'll never ever stop learning in business. Actually, still every day we'll learn a lesson. Sometimes you'll learn them the right way, hopefully because you've had a conversation with someone, you've learned something from them. Sometimes you'll learn it the really hard way when you've made a mistake. It's a really tough one to kind of manage, but you'll never ever stop learning, not when university finishes. It's just the start actually of something that you've got to, your kind of learning time. You've got to be persistent, and that's, for me, I think persistence is the one thing that I think really lacks within a lot of people. They get bored, complacent, not necessarily because they don't believe in the idea. They just have had a couple of knockbacks and they think, actually, this is not for me. I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to do it. I can't get to where I need to be. If you genuinely believe in the idea, there's nothing really that should stop you. You know, really, if you listen to everyone around you and everyone says, that's a really great idea, if you listen to everyone around you and they say it's a ridiculous idea and you keep testing and everyone says it's a ridiculous idea, then maybe you should think about it. But if you think, actually, you've sold it to a couple of people, you nailed your elevator pitch, and a few people have said, sure, that's actually answering a problem, really, never, ever, 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 ever give up. You know, we've got some of our biggest customers in our business now. 3 years the sales process took us to land that customer. They're worth £1 million, £2 million quid to us now because we spent the time understanding their requirement. Our biggest technology customer, the largest acquiring bank in the world, gave me 2 years of no. 2 years of no. I sat there and I thought, it's all right. Because they're saying no, what I actually think is I haven't found the message I need to deliver them to make them say yes yet. It's just a temporary no. I haven't found the angle that I need to go to them yet that's going to say, I get it now. It's definitely a yes. And we waited and we waited. We let them deliver their own project. They tried to compete with us in some of our technology. It failed. You know, they didn't deliver some of the things that they were intending to do. We had some capability that they didn't have, and we were able to deliver something that they had failed to deliver in a year. Nishikant and his guys, they've just delivered it in 4 months. You know, we're going live with one of the largest banks in the UK with some infrastructure to power every one of their customers. Some 12,000 customers initially, 1,000 new customers a month. And that's because we were persistent with the deal. You should never, ever, ever, ever give up. The one frustration I have in the business, I use this as a real case in point. I know a guy who used to work for us many, many years ago, and he's gone off and he's set up his own business now. Great success, in intention. He had some really great ideas. His execution, though, and his sort of arrogance got in the way of a great idea. He actually became, before he had any customers, he was king of the hill, chairman of the board, one guy. And he was sat there with some of the people that he brought into the business, talking about what charities he was going to give all of his money to before he had any customers. There's actually no place for arrogance in business. You've got to accept sometimes you've got to be humble about what you're trying to do. You've got to accept that there's no place for you to kind of be king of the hill sometimes. You have to get down and dirty, do the hard work. Nikki and I we run a global business turning over millions of pounds. If we need to move a desk around because we've got some guys starting and it's a Saturday afternoon, I'm not going to call someone in to do it, just do it myself. If the toilets need cleaning because we've got a cleaner that's not working, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. We're all here to try and create a successful business. You have to be humble and get focused on the end goal. I'm a kind of business person where I do like to get hung up on the detail. There's tons of business books that will say you've got to stick high level, get all the people to worry about the detail, which is probably true when you're a £1 billion business. But for me, the kind of size that we are, we've got some ambitions for growth, and I feel actually it's my place to get hung up on the detail. I want to know everything about our business, what's going on. Not to a point where I'm sort of micromanaging all of the people that work for us, but I want to know that what we're delivering to our customers is right. The propositions that we're putting out to our customers is right. The way we're billing them, managing them, supporting them, looking after them when they're live, I want to know that that's right. I want great people working to support that kind of objective, but I want to know the detail, everything that underpins the way in which our business runs. So I do want people to get hung up on the detail, and I want our staff to get hung up on the detail as well. It's just so important. When you get it wrong, and you will get it wrong, you'll get it wrong lots of times. Don't say it's someone else's fault, because it's not. You're at the top of the tree. When you're CEO, the owner of your own business, an entrepreneur, you're going to make tons of mistakes. That's a natural evolution. You've got to accept that that's going to be the case, but don't get hung up on it. You've got to just accept, I got it wrong. It's my fault. It's my fault. I'm at the top of the tree. Just get on with it. But the one thing it will never be is really, really easy. Being an entrepreneur isn't easy. It will never land in your lap. It really won't. And if you're waiting for some kind of investor, no one's going to ring up one day and say, "Hi, Carl, yeah, I've got £1 million. How do you want to spend it?" It's never going to happen like that. It's just never, ever going to happen. You've got to put in the time. You'll get out exactly what you put in, but it will be as successful as you want to make it. The proposition, a test I always kind of talk to people about when we talk to people about starting new businesses, it's the what, who, and why test. What is your proposition? Who are you going to sell it to? And give me 3 brilliant reasons that it's going to be successful. Why is it going to be successful? And these need to be kind of hard tests. Don't say it's going to be successful because our customer service will be really, really good. You say, well, everyone's customer service. They're going to say everyone's customer service is really good. None of your competitors are going to say our customer service is really bad, and that's why we'll lose all of our customers. You've got to give it. So why is it, if I look at our payments product, what? We deliver infrastructure to banks. Who? We're selling it to banks. Why is it successful? We'd allow people to board customers 2 weeks less than they would do. We allow in-life reporting. We'd give them access to 14 countries through one interface. That's my why for my payments product. You need to give that the test. Also, you need to think about, is there some competition in the market that's going to affect the likelihood of your success? Because there's plenty of competition out there in the market. You need to think, actually, is it good enough? Or is it just going to be an and me product? Are you selling effectively something else that someone else has got? Because if you have the same product, the same proposition, delivered in the same market, the only real differentiator is price. And that is an awful place to be. It's a long, winding road to nowhere, frankly. It's a race to the bottom because there'll always be someone that will deliver a proposition cheaper than you. You don't want to get into that. You've got to focus on the differentiation, what you're bringing to the industry that you're focused on, rather than just being another and me product. It's the same product delivered in a different way. The elevator pitch, so Pablo's been up his 90-second elevator pitch. All of you should be able to come up and do that for your idea. 90 seconds, that's all it needs. This isn't an elevator for 100 floors, it's an elevator for 3 floors. 90 seconds, that's all you've got. You need to be able to communicate your pitch in such a way that your person just, I've got your idea, I get it, fantastic, let's talk more about it. If you can't do it in 90 seconds, it's probably too complicated. You need to refine that. It's just so important that you can get it away, short, sharp, easy to understand. I'd always recommend as well trying to get something to market soon, not rushing to a point that the product doesn't work, because you only get one chance to make a first impression, but you need to be in a place where you can bring a product to market and start realising some revenue, some level of success, good, bad or indifferent. That's what you want to try and achieve. So from my perspective, if you get a product to market to just a proof of concept even, just so your kind of investors, your peers, your team have something that you're working towards. Never underestimate the kind of value of putting something to market. In our business, we spent 8 months building a proposition before we had a single customer. We probably could have carried on building it for 2 years because it's never finished, but you have to get to a point where you say, do you know what, now is the time actually really to start bringing in some customers. The one most important thing beyond your kind of persistence is the confidence in yourself, because if you don't have confidence in your own ability, you can never ever expect anyone to have confidence in what you're capable of doing. You've got to be kind of believe in your own business, believe in yourself that you can achieve and be successful. I think so many people have fantastic ideas, but they don't really think that they're capable of the execution. If you don't know, if you never bother, you're always going to be right, aren't you? If you never bother actually trying, then you're absolutely right, you will never been able to achieve it. But if you try and fail, nothing wrong in that, just pick yourself up and do it again. But you've got to be confident in your ability to actually put yourself out there and try. And I would always say punch above your weight in such a way. You know, we called one of our biggest customers in the UK is Costco, cash and carry business. A lot of you may have already heard of them. They're a massive global business. We signed Costco. We were 4 people sat in a serviced office. It was a box room, effectively a box room. We called Costco because we believed we had something that could differentiate them, something that could help. They wouldn't usually deal with a business like us, but it was a compelling proposition. I was confident in our ability. I was persistent. I wasn't going to let them get away with it. And we signed that customer in January 2013. We didn't actually have a product until May 2013. But we signed them on the back of what we were going to do. They bought into the vision, the concept, and in October of that year we went live. You know, we run services now for 2,500 of their customers in the UK. It's a massive deal for us, worth millions of pounds. There we go. Finance is a thing that gets talked about a lot in Future Worlds, and I think that's important. There's some fantastic mentors and investors as part of that panel. Finance is a difficult one because as an entrepreneur, you kind of think, well, it's my idea. I want 100% of it all of the time. You know, that's my idea. I can get support for people to incubate my idea, but it's my idea, and I want to hold a kind of shareholding, 100% of it. You've really got to think through your sort of investment approach, how you're actually going to manage that idea through to success, because there is also the right time to take investment. There's definitely the wrong time, and you've got through this cash conundrum. What you have to think about is, if I bootstrap it myself, just from the kind of savings that you've got, am I actually detrimentally affecting the idea? Am I missing out on an opportunity where really I could have done better if I had someone else's money? So I tell you what will happen in some of those situations is you'll bootstrap it for a few years. You'll get to a point where you actually identify, you've accepted the point, I need to get money to be able to grow this idea. You've got 3 months of almost failed business because you didn't have that cash. It's a lot more difficult to raise funds for an idea you've run for 3 years and got nowhere than it is to raise for an idea that you could get somewhere in that period. So you have to sometimes compromise and say, I want to have control of my business, but I recognise I can't do it on the funds that I've got. I want to go out and raise funds because I've got a massive opportunity and I could be able to properly leverage that if I had some cash within the business. So do think about what type of funding you need. Some investment is just time and effort and support. Actually, it might be cash generative enough really quickly that you don't need to go and raise funds with someone else. Actually, a lot of the times it's not. You might benefit from an investor, not only for the cash that they bring, but the expertise as well. But don't ever kind of leave it so long you don't actually know where the future of the business is going to lie without investment. Make sure you're forecasting everything that you do as well, even if only for yourself. It doesn't have to be 20 sheets. I look at some of the stuff that our finance director produces. It's so complicated. 100 lines of Excel sheet, 27 sheets, and I sit there and I think, what does the bottom number look like? That's what you have to think about in your business as well. You don't need massive mathematical equations to get the bottom number. How much are going to sell? How much is it going to cost? How many people do I need? How much money am I going to make? That's pretty simple stuff. Everyone can do it. You might not have kind of brilliant Excel skills. There's only 7 lines probably that you need to factor into a simple forecast. Just enough for you to assess what good looks like. Because actually success in business, if you don't know what good looks like, you don't know if you're doing well or badly or whatever. If there's cash in the bank at the end of the month, you might think that's great, but you might be missing something really bad that's going to come across in the future. So just forecast it. Think about it in a bit more detail. I think even before the product, a team is more important actually than the product that you sell, in fact, because the product might be great, but if it's delivered by a team that sort of poorly motivated, not very excited, don't really buy into the vision of the business, it's all going to go bad. The right team is absolutely imperative, and without it, your business will fail, no question, actually. So when you have the passion and the vision, all the people that work with you will buy into that passion and vision that you've got. So you need to make sure that you're kind of delivering that, you're kind of encouraging all the team to be part of what you're trying to achieve. No one is ever staff. I use this image actually. I hate the word staff. We never use the word staff in our NetPay business. We always say team, family. Actually we always consider everyone as part of our team, a part of our family as well. It's an extended family. The word staff is so clinical. You don't work for me. We're working together as a team to try and achieve some common objectives. You won't be able to do it all on your own. I don't ever think that you can. I am awful. I put in things like here, this one here is a really key point, and it will make Nikki and Emily laugh when I say things like learn to delegate, because I am awful at delegation, absolutely awful. I get bogged down in the detail, sometimes I actually get too bogged down in the detail. I'm doing it all myself. I'm the guy sat there at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night thinking, okay, I've still got 27 things I need to do before I leave the office. But actually, I know that that's wrong. That's a fault in my own personality. I need to learn to delegate more, and I want you, as you start your businesses, to think, actually, I need to learn to delegate. As I build the team around me, let them do what they're good at. Give them the opportunity to excel and show you how valuable they are to your business. You've got to give them the opportunity to grow and become better people and better and more valuable for the business, because that's actually how it becomes more rewarding for you, your customers, your product. Everything is about it. Fun is a kind of a coin thing. We're not Google. We don't have the resources of Google. There's no slide. We've got 2 floors in our office. You have to use the steps or you could use a lift. There's no slide between the 2 floors. I feel like we're defective some way for not having a slide. But, being fun in an office is genuinely important. We do things. We have a PlayStation. We have, casual seating. We have some beanbags for the developers to sit down. We have a pool tournament. We have, Tekken tournament, FIFA tournament, all of that kind of stuff. We're trying to make it fun because actually work should be fun. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, That's actually true, because I get up, I love payments, whilst it's quite sad. I love everything that we do. I love technology. I love the fact that we're delivering a platform globally. I love all of those things that make NetPay brilliant. And I love all of the team and all the members that make our business brilliant. So I have to make an environment for them to kind of excel and grow as people, because that reflects well on the product that we sell and the customers that we deal with and the opportunities that we can realise. So you've got to invest in your team, make it fun, make the environment fun, not to a point that you never do any work, because questionably some of the businesses I look at, that's great. All they focus on is in the fact that they've got slides between floors, and we all get drunk on a Friday night in the office because we've got a bar in it. We haven't got any of those things, sadly, but we do try and build an environment that's fun and friendly, and a culture which people can excel, both as individuals and as the business as well. Execution is a key thing. So we talked a lot about kind of planning and finance and all of that kind of stuff. Plans will change. So whatever your business plan is, you'll come out of here and you think, I've got a brilliant idea. I would be amazed if you look back on this idea in 3 years' time and it's exactly the same idea that you had, because things do change. Genuinely, when we set up the NetPay business, we were coming into the market to take customers from banks. Those banks are our biggest customers now. So it's all gone flip reverse, really, where we saw an opportunity, we can actually grow and excel. It allows us to deliver globally better than we thought we ever would be able to as a merchant services business. So now we license certain capability to those customers. Our model changed, our plan changed. We weren't scared to deviate from it. There was an opportunity there we could build and grow and drive revenue and opportunity. So that's where we spent the time. You need to not be too rigid in your focus and say, this is my product, it's in red, it's only ever going to be in red. Sometimes actually you need to do a bit of blue and orange and green, just to make sure that you can identify the proper opportunities. And you have to understand kind of different cultures as well. It's a perfect lesson. So we've got a business based out of Dublin as well. It's actually one of our merchant services business. It delivers card processing services to customers. We made the fatal mistake. My mother's Irish, so I really shouldn't have made this mistake, but I absolutely did. We thought we could copy and paste what we had in the UK and drop it into the Irish market, and we'd all be millionaires from it. That really didn't work at all. We massively underestimated actually how the Irish people buy financial products, because in the UK, we can take a couple of thousand calls into our team in Southampton. We know that we'll convert 50% of those. They will become brand new customers in our merchant service business. We won't have to see anyone. We can sign them up over the phone. They'll love it. They love the product. Get it live quickly. That's what's important to them. They want the product live quickly. Ireland people in Ireland aren't like that. Particularly people in the country. They want to see someone. They want to buy off a personality. It doesn't matter if it takes 2 hours, actually. They'll schedule the time to really understand your business, because they're entrusting you with their money. We're quite blasé actually in the UK. We just spend money with people. We buy things over the phone. Doesn't matter if it's a financial product, what it is. We'll just buy it off them because it seems fine. Product's credible. Company's credible. Ireland isn't like that at all. Nothing like that. We massively underestimated the culture and we paid the price for that. We lost a lot of money thinking that we could just do it the same. So whenever you expand your product internationally on a global scale, you have to understand the nuances of the countries that you're expanding into, because if you don't, if you just think everything's like the UK, it's not. Now, fortunately, the great opportunity you have being part of the University of Southampton is it's a huge diverse culture of people. Many of the people, in fact, none of the people that we have from the University of Southampton are born in the UK. We've got 11 different countries represented in our business. That's our way of understanding cultures. We can bring people from all over the world to contribute in our offices in Hedge End about what they perceive the future of technology to look like in our industry. And that's the way that we can really manage great cultural differences. I think, planning is a key thing around execution, but keeping your eye on the cost, that forecast point that I spoke about is really important, because costs can spiral away. You can get so excited about something, you can want to deal so badly that you do a price that in reality, when you do the numbers on it, actually doesn't really factor in, it doesn't work for you. You have to really spend the time really understanding the cost of the services that you're delivering. It's so, so valuable. And I always think from an execution point of view, why wouldn't you go to the biggest company in the world to try and sell your product? Why wouldn't you bother? Because actually they can say no, but they might say yes. They might say yes, not now, or they might say no, maybe come back to us in a year. But until that point, even when they say no, I think some persistence is still important. You can go, doesn't matter how small your idea is, how small your business is, you can go to the biggest of organisations and try and pitch yourself and have the confidence to do that. If you believe in your product, there is nothing that should stop you going to the biggest organisations in the world and try and pitch your concept. Never ever be frightened. Don't bottom feed sitting there trying to mop up small business. Go really big. Don't focus all your efforts though on the biggest organisations. You need some small customers as well to pay the bills, but you should try and pitch your target some opportunities right at the very top end of the kind of business spectrum. Last slide, before I finish up to you today. Realisation, and this is, you're at the very start of your journey. So you've got kind of all these ideas bursting with a kind of excitement and opportunity. If you take in investors, there's a couple of things that an investor will be looking for. Clear plan, you need to be kind of passionate about it, and they'll go through all that assessment processes. But guys that put money in typically will want to know what they're going to get out and when. That's the reality of it. Investors don't give money just because they're really nice people. They give investment because actually ultimately they're trying to see an exit. That's what they're in there for. And never ever stand in front of an investor and say it's not about the money, because it is. It's certainly about it for them, otherwise you wouldn't be standing in front of them asking for it. So they will want to understand actually what your exit is. And that feels crazy when you're starting a business. You think, I'm just starting it. I don't know where it's going to finish up. But actually you need to have some rudimentary kind of basic plans about where ultimately you can get to within your organisation. What is the opportunity at the very end of that process? It might change. It definitely will change, in fact, because organisations, as you evolve, different opportunities present themselves. And it might be that actually you think, my exit plan is not that we're ever going to sell the business. It might be that you kind of step back and let someone run it and it'll deliver a level of dividend, and that's what you'll be able to give to your investor back. It might be that a great opportunity comes on and you get to merge with your biggest competitor, or you get to be part of a much bigger organisation, but you must think about what those potential avenues look like. There might be 10, there might be 5, there might be 1. You might be building a business specifically to try and sell it to someone else. But you must think about that to satisfy yourself and have something that you work towards, but certainly to satisfy any investors that you've got in there. And I think, we sold a business back in 2010. We definitely could have earned more money than we earned from selling that business. But the one key thing for us, we'd built such a team, such a family within that organisation. We wanted to make sure that when we sold that business, every one of those people was safe. They were safe. We're not going to see redundancies. We're not going to see all kind of change and movement and full integration. We wanted to make sure that the team and family that we'd built were safe as part of a larger organisation. And we sacrificed millions of pounds really in reality by doing it. We could have sold to an organisation that would have made all our staff redundant the following day and integrated our business with their larger organisation. We never wanted to do that. Kind of team is at the very centre of what we do. So when you're thinking of your idea, you've got to focus straight ahead on what the opportunity is. But in the back of your mind, you need to be thinking about what the ultimate goal is, what the exit goal is. A tennis player always looks at the ball and never the scoreboard, but you need to make sure you kind of focus on what that end goal looks like. You have to make sure you're something that you're working towards. You'll be very pleased. That's the end of the presentation, hopefully. If people we are so busy at the moment. I don't know if it's what day it is or where we are, what country we're in. I'm not sure if we're making up in a hotel or at home. But if you do have kind of ideas and opportunities and all that kind of stuff, I just want a quick bit of advice. There's my email address. That actually goes to me. It doesn't go to a kind of gatekeeper that's going to delete them all and kind of paraphrase it back to you and pretend it's from me. That actually goes to me. So if you have got ideas and opportunities and things that you'd like to discuss via Future Worlds or via me directly, just drop me an email. But thanks again for your time today. I hope you found it beneficial. So I think it depends very much on the investor that you're talking to. Now, the challenge is when you've got ideas, you could approach a bank, but they're unlikely to fund ideas. They'll give you debt financing effectively. So they won't take a share in your business. A bank wouldn't, but they'd give you finance. The challenge that you've got when you're a new business is banks really don't want to hear from you. And one of the lessons that you'll learn as you grow a business is a bank will give you an umbrella when the sun is shining. They'll never give you one when it's raining. So that's the reality of it, sadly. So you have to go to private investors, and they think actually you're a risk really because you're a brand new business. Likelihood is they'd want to share in the future success of your business. So they probably would want to take an equity stake, but that's down to you and them to agree how they do it. Some investors will do a mix. They'll say, I'll take some of your business and the rest I'll take in debt. But typically, when you're a brand new start business just with a new idea, they're going to want to take an equity stake because it's a big risk for them. And if you do really well, then they want to take the benefit of the risk that they took in you at the start. God, how long have you got, Pablo? Because there's a million of them. So,
in terms of a team, let's say.
Yeah, I think one of the things you have to be conscious of, actually, if I look at our previous business, we grew that to 70 million of revenue before we left that business. I'd say we probably reinvented our business 3 or 4 times as part of that, because you get to a point where you hit almost a glass ceiling. You can see that there's some opportunities there, but for whatever reason you can't get there. And you have a lot of challenges around how you put the right people in place. You need to accept actually you need great people in your business, people better than you. My business is full of people that are better than me, a variety of different things. I don't ever want to be the kind of smartest guy in the room, actually. But you have to accept sometimes there's going to be some quite difficult decisions as well within your team, because you get some people that start with you at the very start. They're the best people that you've got within your business for where you are in that phase of growth. But actually, in 2 phases of growth down the line, they might not be the right people. And we've been in situations before where because someone's been with us a long time, particularly in our telecoms business before, we promoted them because they'd just been with us a long time. They became a team leader and a manager. We promoted them because they'd been with us for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Actually, when we came to the next few phases of growth, they were a manager, but they weren't really a manager. They weren't really managing the people in the way that we needed to deliver on that phase of growth. So you have lots of challenges around finding the right people. We have, Emily's our HR recruitment manager. She's constantly recruiting for people. Finding the right people is something you'll refine in time, but you will have to you'll have to accept that with growth comes challenges around making decisions on the right people, and sometimes the people that you've had from the start might not be the right people to take you to the next phase of growth. Well, I think it's not really a paradox, that's just business. Yeah? So sometimes you will always encounter challenges. It might be a product that you haven't delivered on time. Our approach with that always is we build in some slippage. So we promise customers it'll be delivered in February when our guys have told it's December, so just so we've got some time in it. I think you drawn out that challenge as one, but actually there's going to be tons of reasons when you run your business every day where you think, do you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. But you have to be surrounded by the team that believe in the business with you. I'm very fortunate. I run my business with my wife. So, we don't always have great days together. She might have a bad day. I might have a bad day. But we pick each other up and say, no, come on. We know what we're trying to achieve as a business. We've got to keep focused on that. But that actually happens within our team as well. So a lot of that is around your motivation. You've got to keep focused on the end goal. It's not going to be easy. You're going to miss deadlines. You're not going to win business. You're going to spend 3 months trying to win a project and they give it to your biggest competitor. But you have to accept that it's not a paradox. It's just life. That's just running business, unfortunately. You're going to have a ton of knockbacks, and it's about how you respond to those knockbacks rather than, you have to just accept and not, that's life and just carry on and never give up. At some point it has to become possible though, right? So, the reality distortion field will only get you so far. So I think by virtue of our business, what we've tried to do is take in a very stale market. The financial services industry typically is not the most innovative place. People give us a label of fintech now, but we were in fintech before fintech was fintech, right? So we were in the industry and we saw an opportunity where the only reason that people didn't do things in the way that we are doing them is because they just never believed it were possible. Sometimes when you've been in an industry for 20 or 30 years, they just say that isn't the way we do it, it's the way we've always done it, is this way. I think there is a lot of merit in that kind of Steve Jobs approach. What you have to do is kind of believe that we can achieve something that's never been done. That's really important because actually that's our differentiator in the market. We're a technology-driven business. So all of our people have to buy into the fact that we're going to do something that's never been done because that's what our business is all about. I absolutely believe it's important as long as you can back it up at some point. I'm not a coder. I'm never a coder. So I knew where we wanted to get to. I gave Hussein, who Nishikant works for, Hussein Ozturk is our development director in our business, employee number 1. He came in and I say, here's 70 pages of specification. I think it could be done. I'm not a coder though, so you need to make it happen for me. And that's ultimately what they've done. I don't know, I trust all of our guys and the developers that we've got, the best in the world, frankly, and I truly mean that. The developers that work within our business are the best in the world. They allow us to realise the vision. I don't know how they do it. It's magic to me. It's just a black hole. And I can dream up the ideas, but ultimately it's down to them guys to deliver it. I wouldn't know a line of code from anything really. It could be ingredients for a cake. I wouldn't know what I'm looking at. So we have to trust in those guys to be able to do it. And it's about knowing great people to support you with it. But we give them the vision and they buy into the vision and then they make it happen. So. Just pick up the phone. Yeah, I think, I honestly, I'm quite a traditionalist in that way. I'm a salesman at heart and not a developer. So, from our perspective, I always think, who do I know? We did a session actually with our account managers a few weeks back, and I said, what's every market that we want to be in? So we mapped out 7 markets. And then we picked the kind of industry leaders in those markets, and we all took a number of them away. And we just do really traditional things. I love LinkedIn. We do a lot of stuff around trying to identify the right people on LinkedIn. With some searching there, you can identify the kind of key person. Then you have to become master of the gatekeeper, so you give lots of reasons to the person that's trying to stop you from talking to that person about the reasons that they really should be talking to you about something amazing. But emails, calls, don't be frightened to pick up the phone. Try and find mutual contacts as well. So I might not know someone, but I'm connected with Ben on LinkedIn, and Ben knows this guy, so maybe I could have a chat with him about it and just try and master your elevator pitch for that opportunity to speak with them. But I think there's no from a sales perspective, there's no magic way that you're going to get an audience with someone. It's about hard work and just being traditional about it. I think, the phone and email and all of that kind of stuff is your friend. Don't be scared. Just get yourself out there.